came in after the talk began. So we have a talk about cardinal sponsor Bala Girisaballa. After that, we'll have a panel hosted by Startup Saturday, and then we'll go into panel sessions. So that you'll be speaking at C11 classroom. Tushar will guide you there. And after that, please come back here for lunch, and we'll take you to the first block. So with that, I would like to introduce Bala Girisaballa, who's the director of Yahoo Entrepreneurship Network at Yahoo, and I would say a key mover and shaker of the ecosystem. Bala Girisaballa.
Is there something I need to do? Ravi? About that, and I could go back to some of the examples that came out during the discussion, but I think it was very enriching. One of the examples you talked about is people starting restaurants, and when you mentioned that people are serving people who are serving somebody else, it went back to some example that I read about Levi Strauss, the company which I think most of us wear the jeans here. And the way the Levi Strauss came about is that I think Levi's basically came to California during gold rush in the mid-1800s, and he also wanted to kind of pan gold and become rich. And by the time he reached Sacramento or someplace like that, and he saw tons and tons of people already trying to find gold, and he said, I have no hope in hell to actually go find a place and get gold. So he suddenly started getting dejected and saying, what else can I do? And I suddenly realized a lot of people who go there, they need pans, and the pans, the loose pans and all that stuff. He said, no, not a bad idea. I'll start making pans and sell it to these guys. And he started making pans and started selling to these guys. And then he realized, that the dress they wear, they get torn because you have to be in very cold waters, and it's all rugged place. And that's how he started realizing that, what if I make something really sturdier for them to wear? And he started making like dungarees and jeans, and that's how the entire jean actually started coming about. And so he built an empire around that. So hopefully some of your restaurateurs who come out of IT software will go ahead and create that scenario. Conference in Delhi in December. That was quite eye-opening for me as well. There were 3 entrepreneurs who were featured in that presentation, which was really, really beautiful to see. So going again back to the frugal innovation, there's actually a Stanford professor later on was a startup person, and then I forgot his name, but he came back to India thinking, solar and alternative energy is a big deal here. So we came here, and they created some solar light kind of a thing, a contraption that they wanted to sell. The first prototype completely flopped, either because it's unwieldy or the price point was absolutely not suitable, and third is the product itself, nobody understood why somebody would need it. Then he realized, I got to do something about it. So he started visiting villages, and the point was, I think in his head he had this clear idea that I got to do something with solar and light. I mean, these are the 2 things he had in his head. And they started visiting and meeting a lot of folks, and then he found out how they live, how they use, where they use light, when they need light, and all. He probably did a day in life, or maybe spent some time with them. And then he came up with this beautiful, very plastic light, and you can charge it by the day. I mean, in India, sun is not a problem. You should leave it outside, it gets charged, and by the day, and then in the night, you kind of hang it on the top of your ledge or something, and you can read under that, or you can cook under that, and stuff like that. He started doing a lot of things, and he said a lot of input which made it more worthwhile was not actually technology, it was a design of the light itself. So going back to the multidisciplinary aspect of it, he had to spend a lot of time understanding how it is used and where it will be kept and how to make it stable and sturdy, and those kind of aspects was much more important. So the assumptions he went back initially into the market, and what the reality was very different. But the point is, adaptability is very important. Knowing who you're talking to and understanding their real needs is important. And that was not enough. Later on, a lot of people started telling him is that they started locking these lights up in their their house. And the reason is the solar panel which goes on top of the light is much more expensive, and people would steal it. So, and he got back the feedback, and the people are stealing my light. Now what do I do? And so he came back and he said, what do we do? And then what they did was they separated the light and the panel. So it's a very simple thing. So you can use the light, and the panel would be used only when you need to charge it. And then later on, take the panel out, put it in your almirah, lock it. You can start using the light. Now from that point onwards, light becomes a normal light. So he mentioned that these are things I would have never ever imagined that this would become the critical success factors for whatever he was trying to invent. And then, I keep switching. And then the third thing he mentioned was, I wanted to bring light to people, but then a lot of people said, I don't need light so much. I need some way in which I can charge my cell phone, because power is a problem in our house. We get power only 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day. So he started converting this torchlight thing into an inverter. So he would give that socket in which people can actually charge their mobile phones. And finally, he realized the biggest aha moment for him is that people don't want light, people want energy source, because they want to then charge multiple things which need electricity. And it was quite interesting, because he was a scientist. He was a scientist who understands alternative energy, solar fuel cells and stuff like that. But he was getting into this interesting, array of how people work, what problems are there. So going back to your UID example, that's really cuts the whole thing into that. So I thought I think the connect is the problem, in my opinion. I think connecting with the people and the real problem is something we are not so used to, like you rightly said. Okay, should I just talk through it?
Yeah.
Because I think you're running out. What if you connected to that? Because I participate or give a lot of presentations in my life, maybe thousands of them. I've never seen any presentation go smooth. There has to be some hitch with the projector. Goes to show how much we are.
Bala, I think Spice has come up recently.
Okay, sorry for that 5 minutes delay, but just wanted to talk to you guys about what we do. We've been doing at Yahoo something around it, and I'm so glad to hear what GV had to talk about, because that's exactly what dovetails into what I was going to talk about. So the stage has been set beautifully. Thank you for that. I don't want to mention more about collaborative innovation, because that stage was beautifully set. So that's exactly what we are trying to do at Yahoo. And we have a group called Yahoo Entrepreneur Network. Don't ask me why we named it that way, except the fact that we know we need to work with entrepreneur ecosystem, and we want to build with it. There are tons of things that as an organization we want to do internally as well as externally, like GV rightly mentioned. Today it's all about synthesis. It's about working with your partners, working with folks outside to kind of connect and develop and create value, and that's exactly what Yahoo Entrepreneur Network is going to be about. I have to go there to go to the next one. That's all right, I can do this. Okay, there you go. Some of the objectives of it is primarily to support and grow a strong innovation ecosystem around us, and there's no reason why we should not be sitting and innovating, both for India as well as global. And I don't think it is about India, it's about innovation anywhere. Like GV rightly mentioned, the value creation is something, it's agnostic, right? I mean, wherever you create value, the value exists there, and you start attracting that, the particular, either it be capital or talent or expertise or anything of that nature. So the idea here is that there is a felt need for a strong innovative ecosystem, and as a large player, Yahoo is definitely very, very keen in helping folks and by providing support and growing a innovative ecosystem around us. The second is to facilitate partnership opportunities with Yahoo. So that is the second part where the corporate tie-in definitely comes into play. We understand that we not only have to help support in a larger context, but also what if there are things that we can bring to the table that would be very interesting as well as valuable to startups and smaller organizations. Being of the scale that Yahoo is, we kind of serve about 600 million users in a month. So we do see a lot of trends. We see a lot of things that are out there. Some we can spot trends. But Yahoo all said and done is also very limited in its resources and its capability to execute and leverage things. We can't be doing everything to everybody. So this is exactly where the collaborative nature of the of what we want to do comes into play. There are lots of partnership opportunities that I want to kind of announce it here that we are looking for. So any startup who are looking for any kind of resources, I'm going to talk about the kind of resources that we bring to the table. We are willing to kind of engage with you and help in any form that we can do. So what are these kind of opportunities that we have? One is about innovation ecosystem. We do engage with primarily 5 stakeholders that I see around us. One is the startups. When I say startups, I don't mean just the size or anything, even established startups or companies which actually are out there trying to create value and grow. Number 2 is the developer ecosystem. Developer ecosystem is again very, very strong, like what you guys talked about in the earlier session. For example, what happened with Apple or what happened with Nokia for that matter, right? I mean, there's a strong tie into the developer ecosystem. There's a platform, and you definitely need very active and enthusiastic developers who can connect with that that platform. And the third one is obviously academia. We had some questions around that as to how academia can also help us. So we do engage today in multiple ways. One is we have a lot of events we sponsor, like what we did today, but we also do a lot of events and talk and engage and let everybody come together and then put their heads around and kind of discuss ideas and see how we can collaborate and move forward. And the second is we also provide some mentoring opportunities. We connect with a lot of incubators, including NSR and Indian Angel Network and other incubators. And most of them do come back with us and say, in the consumer internet space, we are looking for somebody who can help us validate certain plans or validate or help some startups to kind of validate some of the hypotheses they have, some assumptions they make, or is it the right market to go to? Is it exactly the right type of challenge that we are taking? So if we do have the expertise in those areas, we do offer mentorships to those startups on a one-on-one basis as well. On the developer side, we have a developer network called YDN, and we engage with multiple developers over the system, so people can actually build apps on top of the developer network, which is an open application platform. If you build it on YDN, you can also use it in other areas as well. So it's an open application platform, and if you build on it, Yahoo has an ability to distribute your application through its properties, be it my.yahoo.com or be it in other kind of properties that we have. Your applications will automatically surface up and it gets distributed. So you get to see a lot of traffic coming your way. And we also have multiple programs around engaging with the developer community like Hack Days. We annually conduct a Hack Day in Bangalore. About 1,300 people participate in that. It's a very interesting concept. It's a very more technical concept where you put together something, develop something over a period of 24 hours, and then you kind of come and this can be anything. It need not be just with anything with Yahoo. You can take a Facebook API and build something within 24 hours. We provide infrastructure, capabilities, mentoring, and all that stuff to come up with that. And if you want to take your idea into as a product or launch a company, we also help you do that. It's our commitment to help the ecosystem grow. And the third one is academia. We sponsor a lot of research projects with multiple universities. We also engage in not only technical research, but also in research related to sociology and behavior aspect of it. More and more, as you have seen, it's not just the technology element which is important to making something work and viral. It's the behavior element is also very important. So what makes people take action on your website? What makes people actually come there? What makes people actually spread certain your service or a behavior, particular behavior? That's very, very important. So we engage in a lot of research, both in the management science as well as technology. And we also work with a lot of folks in projects and internship opportunities that we provide. Anybody is interested in doing particular research in a particular area, particularly which is oriented towards what we look for, we do sponsor that as well. And then finally, the two stakeholders, the reason I put them is that they are the backbones for the other three here, is that investment community and trade bodies. We engage with a lot of venture capital companies, angel networks, And like what JB mentioned, there are actually emerging, a lot of angels are emerging today. So everywhere I see, almost in 4 corners of India, there are angel networks. Obviously, it's at a little nascent stage, but everything goes to nascency, right? I mean, we are just growing. So what I'm happy to see right now is not so much of whether great path-breaking ideas are coming, but actually are ideas even coming. Because I think fundamentally we need to shift the mental state of how we think about problems. And that takes some time. And then after some time, we mature into, are the problems good problems? And then is it worth solving it? So let's take one step at a time. And I think angels are doing a fantastic work there in that aspect. Like GB rightly mentioned, if your idea is worth it, you will never have any problem today in getting funding. So the getting funding has never been an issue in the past few years, and that's because of all the good work that they are doing there. Trade bodies obviously help you in providing the ecosystems. You work with NASCOM, CII, TIE, and all those folks to support in some of the activities or initiatives that they do there. And some of the partnerships that I talked about, the second pillar is that how do we, Yahoo has a lot of areas in which we are looking for partners. So some of the sample areas I have put here, and I'm going to talk about two categories of that. And but key takeaway is that we are looking for partners. And the second key takeaway is that we kind of not only look for large companies, but we look for partnership with even startups. So size really does not matter. But please don't come with us with an idea on a presentation. You have to have some product that's out there in the market and that you can support you and say that, hey, I have this product, I think it's of great value, and I would like to work with Yahoo, come to me. I'm willing to listen, and I'm willing to connect and facilitate, connect within the Yahoo, because Yahoo inside is also a large organization, and it's very hard for a small startup to find its way through myriad departments and myriad people, and roles keep changing, or focus keep changing. So Yahoo Entrepreneur Network as a group becomes the central facilitation unit, or a group which can help connect external startups with internal groups to kind of collaborate, find each other, connect with each other, as well as kind of look for synergistic value. And some splatter of areas in which we are looking for partnerships: search, advertisement. Why do I mention there? The reason is a lot of entrepreneurs did come to me and say, I have a startup which has got some good search technology, but I don't think you guys will be interested because you already have search technology. And that is so far from truth. And the reason is, just because we are doing something in search does not mean that your technology is not interesting to us. There are lots of areas in which the search itself is evolving, or even the advertising space itself is evolving. Most of our good partnership actually come from the area in which we are good at, because we natively understand that particular thing so very well. We actually look for extensions of what we do, or we look for in our own capability matrix, we have some gaps in between, and these companies can come in and plug into those gaps. Those are the two good areas where you can partner with. So just because search is looks like competing does not mean that we are not interested. We are actually interested in more in that sense. And most of the time I've seen startups do very specialized work, which is very, very interesting. I've come across multiple advertising technology startups. We actually do really cool work. I mean, the way they have, so one such company that we came across is where they would display advertising no matter how you are kind of looking at the page. You scroll the page, the advertising changes. You scroll the page, the advertising actually moves on to a different story. That kind of stuff. I mean, they kind of worked on a very particular problem within the advertising, and then they kind of came up with a solution, and we were very excited about it, and we wanted kind of work with them. A few other areas where we may not be able to develop native capability, but the capability is immensely useful to us, is areas like geo-local, gaming, mobile kind of space. These are exploding by any standards. Yahoo by no means will be able to kind of boil the ocean in this space. So we are looking for partners. If you have any idea, I mean, if you are in a startup, or if you are thinking about getting into a startup in any of these spaces, we're more interested in looking at it. And the third example is around the education, wellness, entertainment. It's more a content-driven play and synthesis of various parts in the ecosystem play. not so much of a technology play. Regional and languages. As you know, Yahoo CEO has committed herself, our company, to about the making Yahoo accessible in multiple local languages, and I think this is very, very important. Today, what we see is a paucity of content in different languages, different regional languages. If you're a Telugu or a Tamil or Punjabi, you would want to experience internet in that sense, but this is kind of, I'm fine with that. So, but however, what you see is lack of relevant content in that particular language, and we are committed to kind of solving that problem. So, and there are multiple startups who actually have that. If you know of any startup, or if you are in a startup which does work in the regional language area, we are very interested in that. SMB is again very, very important. This regional languages and SMB in itself opens up a lot of made for India kind of problems or solutions, right? India is full of a lot of SMBs. They are completely underserved today. They are completely underserved. Nobody's even looking at that. Everybody wants to either serve for the Indian large organization or international companies or international markets. But who's looking at SMBs? And they are very hard to reach, and that's one of the reasons why they are underserved. So we are looking at how we can help in that space as well. Finally, communications, which are your tools and technologies like mail, messengers, and those kind of things. So that's pretty much what I had to say about what Yahoo Entrepreneurship Network does. And I know you'll have a lot of questions, but I think we may be running into a time slack here. But if you have any questions, why don't you go ahead and send me an email at gbala@yahoo-inc.com, or connect with one of the volunteers. They'll be able to connect me up with them. With that, I look forward to working with you. And if you have any, if you need any help in anything else as well as even outside of Yahoo, please do feel free to reach out. Thank you.